So we're going to talk about updates of the Iranian war that is going way past, or looks like it's going to go past Trump's 4-week deadline. Iran says that Trump's lying about them being in talks for a ceasefire. I don't know what's going on. It's a mess. The prices are going up. Gas is going up. It's going to be impacting us. It's not partisan. I voted for Trump 3 times. I liked immigration, a lot of these other things. I'm actually pro-tariff. But from my experience, this is like Groundhog's Day, Iraq, Afghanistan. And it's dragging out. And Iran's not flinching. They're basically calling Trump to do something. The mess of Lindsey Graham going and talking to Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government on his own, as the war hawk and coward normally does. He's never seen a war that he's never wanted to get other people involved with, especially our young men and women, but I'm not surprised. So he goes over, talks, have a conversation with Israel to talk Trump into committing to the Iranian war. And we need to do more. There's Rubio says the quiet part out loud and says that Israel literally told the United States that we're going to attack Iran if they didn't do it first.
The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's 2 reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond against the United States. The orders had been delegated down to the field commanders. It was automatic, and in fact, it bared to be true, because in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act. Going back.
So they did it. Our military attacked Iran. So Israel wouldn't attack first. So that's great. Mark Levin, and we'll get into the civil war of the conservative media. It's driving me nuts. I never thought that would be the negative ripple effects from Charlie Kirk getting assassinated, would be the absolute collapse and infighting of the conservative media. I mean, it's insane. There's only 2 sides now. And Megyn Kelly was sort of walk in the middle, and she's been pulled over to the Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens side because she won't tell Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro that she's going to denounce the other side that is questioning the Israeli government. One of the things that does concern me, and we'll go into it more, is anybody that even questions the Israeli government or the Iranian war is automatically fascist or anti-Semitic. We'll talk about that. The war currently in Iran, even though it's not a war, but it's a war. Israel strikes in, Isfahan, city of 2.3 million, home to a battered military base. Witnesses report huge explosions and a massive column of fire fighting up in the night sky. Additional blasts struck areas near Tehran. Iranian retaliation, of course, on Israel. Iran launched a new wave of missiles at Israel. Israel Air Defense intercepted most, but with no casualties reported at latest barrage. Earlier Iranian strikes, Allied fire, have hit northern Israel, including the Haifa oil refiner, sparking fires. One of the things that I've talked to friends of mine in the intelligence community, in the military, they're saying that Israel media, if you haven't noticed, there's really no media coming out of Israel right now. No videos, no nothing. And from my friends are saying, and these aren't friends like, compared to Dan Bongino, who we'll get into as well with the media on that, but they're saying that Israel's getting hit. The cluster bombs that Iran's sending over the Iron Dome can't stop. It's not stopping everything. It's ballistic missile spreads out, and the Iron Dome can't hit everything.
I know.
פגיעה ישירה בערד, פגיעה ישירה בערד, פגיעה ישירה בערד. ערד ישראל, פגיעה ישירה, כל עולה באש.
And the cities are getting wrecked. And there's a few videos coming out, but not much, because Israel wants to show that they're in control and nothing to look here, we're fine, and Iran is beat. I'm sick and tired. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of Iran, hearing about Iran, and we've won the war.
You're talking about to end it? Well, I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure. I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing.
We have it. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed, and like 3% of the oil that normally goes through is getting through. You have to pay a fee or like a toll, and no one's sneaking through. Supposedly there's mines being laid. It's a mess. So Israel's getting rocked. That's what I'm hearing. Iran struck the Kuwaiti oil tanker. Oil prices, let's just put it that way. Drones flying everywhere. Saudi Arabia hitting energy, oil, and houses. The infrastructure there. Lebanon. We talked about the rumor of the Greater Israel, which includes Lebanon.
In 2024, an Israeli soldier was photographed in Gaza wearing this badge. It shows an imagined country stretching from the Nile in Egypt to the Euphrates in Iraq. It includes all of Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, and chunks of Syria, Egypt, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. It's called Greater Israel, what Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls a historic and spiritual mission. Today, Israel's internationally recognized territory covers almost 21,000 square kilometers. The territory on that badge? Roughly 500,000 square kilometers, basically 25 times larger. Is Greater Israel already happening on the ground? A smaller version already exists. Israel plus the occupied Palestinian territories, plus the Golan Heights taken from Syria, about 27,000 square kilometers, with 800,000 settlers on illegally occupied land. The big version, seen on the badge, would absorb, in whole or in part, land from 7 sovereign nations, where over 120 million people live. Supported by settlers and given a nod by the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. But where did the idea come from? It traces back to Genesis 15:18, where God makes a covenant with Abraham, promising his descendants that land. It is quoted by the founder of modern Zionism, Theodor Herzl, in 1898 as the borders of a future Jewish state. Decades later, the idea became a strategy. In 1982, Oded Yinon, a former Israeli foreign ministry official, published a strategy for Israel in the 1980s. The article argued that Israel's security required the fragmentation of surrounding Arab states. In 1996, a policy paper for Netanyahu called A Clean Break recommended abandoning the Oslo peace process and weakening Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. From Herzl to Netanyahu, more than a century apart, there's one trajectory. You don't take the land. You break the states around you until no one can stop you from taking what you want. That pattern is playing out right now. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich laid out the strategy in a leaked recording: do the annexation without calling it annexation. His map claims 82% of the occupied West Bank. He vowed to add 1 million Israeli settlers to Palestinian land. About half of Israelis polled support expanding control over Palestinian territories and pursuing annexation. Support for negotiating a Palestinian state has collapsed to just 1 in 10. In Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iran, the wars of the past 2 years almost all fall within the borders of the Greater Israel map. Many steps are similar: a military operation, a buffer zone, and then outposts, settlements, and annexation. Israel has never officially defined its borders. In 1948, its first prime minister, David Ben-Gurion, refused, saying Israel would expand beyond partition once it built its strength. Since then, every border Israel has ever drawn has been temporary. Every expansion has been permanent.
Israel basically has been blowing up the infrastructure, the bridges around Lebanon, so no one can get in or out. They're basically attacking Lebanon. They're attacking Lebanon.
الله أكبر كفرت بنيت. الله أكبر. الله أكبر راحتك كفرت بنيت. يا لطف الله الله أكبر لك الضرب الثاني لك يا لطف الله شو ولع. الله أكبر. بعد في واحد.
Israel is. And you're not hearing this anywhere. And so while we're fighting Iran and bombing and has, Trump put 2,500 Marines on a MEU in that area to QRF the area just in case we, go in the island or the actual main part of Iran. Israel's attacking Lebanon. So I'm sure they have nuclear bombs. I mean, I'm so sick of it this time. Just to be transparent, I'm completely against any boots on the ground in Iran. U.S. troops. Israel, they want to go in. Perfect. They have like 600,000 total troops in that small country. Send in 200,000. You want to do that? Go. But we'll support you. We'll do air cover. We'll do all that other stuff. Naval. Fine. But I'm sick of boots on the ground. This is, like I said, Groundhog's Day. All over again, Iraq, Afghanistan. I don't want to get into that. But Lebanon, 3 UN troops killed. France requests a UN Security Council. Israel continues striking southern Lebanon. Just a complete mess. Iran denied meaningful talks with the U.S., calling America demands non-starters. So that's, awesome, even though Trump's saying they're discussing things. Iran saw the ultimatum, said no, and there's no negotiations or talks. U.S. isn't really talking to us. The U.S.-Israel campaign has severely damaged Iranian missile production facilities, launch bases, production short, medium-range ballistic missiles likely halted by now. Oil prices spiked. $104, $110 a barrel. The Asia is screwed. Most of China's oil comes through the Hormuz Straits. It's a mess. And it's going to impact us because even though we produce most of our own oil, we are getting completely hammered by supply and demand. Because other oil companies are like, hey, we're going to be able to get a higher price if we sell outside the U.S. And that's what's happening. So, talked about Lindsey Graham. There's a video that went viral about the Iranian war and Charlie Kirk. It was a leaked video from Erika Kirk talking about Charlie's sentiments of Iranian war.
I put the kids to bed and I thought to myself, you guys are in our backyard. And I was really frustrated that you guys weren't able to have the counter tabling for the Enough America tour, and that really pissed me off, especially because we have some really good people that could be on campus to counter program that. Yeah, no, to answer your question, my husband isn't here to say whether or not we should be at war with Iran. I would love for him to be here right now and to tell us if we should or should not. I would love it. I miss his voice more than anyone in this world. And, you know, it's frustrating when you have people speaking for him. I have a sentiment for that. But thank the good Lord that we have a bunch of his videos that we can look back on. And it's like chapters like this, I have to commend you. This is amazing. All of you guys sitting here together having debate, discourse, dialogue, that's what Turning Point USA is about. And that's what I wanted to continue. So when you ask what's our stance on the war, what's our stance on that, I actually would prefer that we have these types of discussions where our stance is on freedom of speech. And I want you guys to all continue to just...
As you could hear, Erika was talking about this whole, well, I really wish that Charlie was here to tell us what he thought about the Iranian war. You mean like this, Erika?
So what would this look like? If the United States were to get involved with Iran, you can see all public reports. It looks like there is a mobilization to the region. America bombing Iran would be a direct escalation. Now, it would not be the same as bombing their oil fields or even bombing the supreme leader. The most basic action would be drop a bunker buster on their underground nuclear plant. And some people claim that's the only thing we have to do. But the cautionary tale that I would say both privately and publicly, and I'm going to Washington, D.C. tomorrow, and I will say this on the show, and I'll say this to anyone that will listen. It's very hard to stop a war when you want, and it's hard to stop a war once you're in the midst of a war. So let's say that the United States bombs Fordo with bunker-busting bombs. And Iran getting a nuclear weapon, not good. No one wants that. You can see how it's changed the geopolitical calculus when North Korea has a nuclear weapon. It makes us treat North Korea in a way that we otherwise would not treat it. We have to put more time, attention, detail, troops, intelligence. What otherwise would be a third world country, the fact they have a nuclear weapon, we have to take them far more seriously. If we were to bomb Fordo, Iran would likely and probably consider this to be an act of war. Would they respond and try to target U.S. bases? Would they try and target U.S. troops? Would they activate sleeper cells within the interior of the United States? These are all things that President Trump has to factor in. On the other side, President Donald Trump has said, I will not allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon because he has said when crazy people have weapons of unthinkable violence, you have to deal in reality. The longer I live, the more I realize that puritanical, ideological approaches to situations like this are not helpful. On one side is the Lindsey Graham, John Bolton types, where they are actively calling for regime change. Can we play the tape of Lindsey Graham yesterday, who's just, quite honestly, just making a lunatic of himself? It just looks like a lunatic. Time for us to close the chapter on the mullahs and the Ayatollah. So let me first just paint to you the two extremes, and then also let you know that's actually not how life works. And Donald Trump is actually rejecting both extremes. Here is Lindsey Graham, and this is just lunacy. This kind of analysis is not helpful. This kind of approach, this kind of argument, it has nothing to do with nuclear weapons at this point. This is now that we want to go all in and take out the regime. It's time for us to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen and start a new chapter in the Middle East. And that sounds good, doesn't it? But what have we learned when it comes to wars, and especially wars in the Middle East? What you draw up on a whiteboard rarely happens. What you think theoretically is going to occur, there might be unintended and unforeseen consequences, especially when you're talking about a country 2.5 times the size of Texas. It has 90 million people and was an ancient and great power with well over a dozen ethnic groups. You have underground Christians. You don't really have many Jews left in Persia. But also you have secular younger Persians. Who's going to run the country exactly, Lindsey Graham? This sounds like Hillary Rodham Clinton in Libya. So I'm pointing to the first extreme right now, the neoconservative extreme. We must go take off the head of the snake right now. And Donald Trump is doing a phenomenal job of resisting these calls for regime change. He's playing around with it on Truth Social, as he should rhetorically. President Trump should rhetorically taunt and rhetorically threaten regime change. Absolutely, he should engage in information warfare. Play cut 285.
Be all in, President Trump, in helping Israel eliminate the nuclear threat. If we need to provide bombs to Israel, provide bombs. If we need to fly planes with Israel, do joint operations. But here's the bigger question. Wouldn't the world be better off if the Ayatollahs went away and replaced by something better? Wouldn't Iran be better off? It's time to close the chapter on the Iranian Ayatollah and his henchmen. Let's close that chapter soon and start a new chapter in the Mideast, one of tolerance, hope, and peace.
Okay, that sounds good, but that's pathologically insane. I'm sorry, it is. How do you know it's going to be better? Yeah, the Ayatollah is awful, but maybe he's one of the few guys that can keep that country together and not have a 90 million person civil war. Lindsey Graham is so consistently out of his mind, it's hard to even comprehend. Iran is hugely diverse. It is a massive country. Do the people agitating for war even know that? Because be clear, regime change is war. Just to understand, regime change is not like changing the head coach at the Chicago Bears. It's not how it works. Oh, we're going to bring a new head coach. I think that some people think that it's as easy in like sports terms. Oh, we're just, okay, Nick Saban is gone. We're going to go bring in the coach from University of Washington. Sorry, Andrew.
Or like this, Erika.
How much do you actually know about Iran? Persia was a great power, and then Iran took a turn for the worst. Interestingly enough, there was the Shah of Iran, and then the Shah was displaced by Mossadegh. Mossadegh was democratically elected. Now, to be very fair, the United States and Britain got rid of Mossadegh, and then we reinstalled the Shah. Bad decision, which then led to the Iranian Revolution, where radical Islam took over Iran. Look at some of these pictures of what Iran used to be. It was wealthy, it was proud, it was strong. The Persians are wonderful people. Some of my closest friends are Persians, and I love the Persian people. And we should have a heart for the Persian people to try and have a better future. Regime change is very difficult to talk about. I actually don't like talking about regime change. It's very complicated, but understand that there can be brighter days ahead for the Iranian people. And just look at some of these pictures of how beautiful Iran used to be, how beautiful Tehran used to be. And it's very easy to kind of sit in your Western armchair and be like, oh, Israel's terrible. Well, you're able to enjoy free speech rights and a lot of rights here in the West that Iran used to have. And if you are serious about actually protecting human rights, you should want to make Iran Western again.
How about this one, Erika?
This is Israel's war. Yeah, the worst possible case scenario is Iran says, okay, you humiliated us, you killed all of our leaders. We're going to go make this a regional mess and try to get as many people involved as possible. They're going to go after Americans, they're going to go after Saudis, they're going to go after everybody imaginable, just to create a big mess and to try to draw the world into it. But I can say concretely, here's where I stand. We do not want U.S. boots on the ground. We do not want American kinetic involvement. This is Israel's war.
Maybe this one?
It's America's fault that Iran is currently under the current regime occupation. I mean, you know the history, right? So you had the Shah. There was a democratically elected Mossadegh, and then he wants to nationalize the oil. Some goofy stuff happens. We get involved and displace him and put the Shah back in when he's sick, super unpopular, and then you get radicalism, right? So I'm not one to overplay into America bad. This was a royal screw-up on behalf of the American Central Intelligence Agency and the British intelligence. So when you say, what do we have to do to regime change? I'm like, maybe we should sit this one out, let the Iranian people figure it out themselves.
Maybe, the last month of his life, like this.
Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one.
This is more Israel pushing for Iran. But is that America's problem? That's a question. I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what, they were wrong about Iraq, they were wrong about Syria, they were wrong about Afghanistan, they were wrong about the Taliban, they were wrong about Libya, they were wrong about the Arab Spring, they were wrong about Yemen, they were wrong about the Arabian Peninsula, they were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian. But hey, 10th time's a charm. This time we're actually right. Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one.
The fact that Erika is switching, doing a 180 on Turning Point, Charlie Kirk, who was Turning Point's stance on the Iranian war and questioning Israel and different things, the fact that she's playing like, well, we don't really know because he's dead now, how his stance was on Israel and Iran and attacking Iran is mind-blowing. Because if my spouse died, I'd remember what clothes she wore, the last time I saw her, what we said. I mean, I'd be replaying things in my head over and over again. And Charlie, for the last month or two of his life, was talking about do not go into Iran. He talked about having discussions with Trump before he was assassinated about don't go into Iran. And the fact that she's telling her staff in plain coy and just like, oh, I don't know what he would think right now. Well, we know what he was saying because there's recordings and videos, which if you go to Turning Point, they're all behind paywalls now. But you got to love the internet because we got them. So you're welcome. My feelings on the Israeli-U.S.-Iranian war is we're going to put boots on the ground. I don't think Israel they're fully committed. And they know that Trump fully supports them. Congress is aging out, to put it nicely. And the next generation, my generation younger, are sort of questioning like the whole Israel thing about, I understand strategically to have Israel there in the Middle East as a launching pad and sort of like a aircraft carrier, but a land carrier, a base in the Middle East to keep everybody behaving. But the problem is Israel is making us, from reports of Joe Kent, love him or hate him, other reports, Rubio, Secretary of State, stating that Israel was going to attack Iran if we didn't attack, so we had to attack. So now we're playing, what is it, tails wagging the dog? I don't mind supporting other countries to a certain extent, but if they're dictating because they're about to go like rogue on us and they're allies, we should question that. I question my own government, the U.S. government. I took an oath to protect it, the Constitution, the American people. And I question our government. I've seen enough where they lie. We've seen it with the Epstein files, you can keep your doctor, if you want. Just JFK assassination. Federal government says there's aliens now. I mean, the crazy work, Doge, Minnesota Somali fraud. I mean, it just stacks up. I mean, I've lost track over the last few years. Like I said, I mentioned this, Cat Williams has talked about, in 2025 that it was going to be a year of truth. Well, I thought the year of truth would stop at 2025, but it keeps on rolling. And it's insane to me. Insane. So I think we're going to have boots on the ground. Israel's not going to let us stop the war in Iran and have a ceasefire. I think they're fully committed. Like I mentioned, they don't care. They want control. Netanyahu mentioned pipeline. His goal after the Iranian war is to have a pipeline through Israel and Gaza, like he owns Gaza.
There are oil fields around the world that are burning. Gas prices are going up. The war is popular here in Israel. It is not popular with many Americans. My question was, how do you see this ending? Not why, not even when. What do you imagine the day after?
Well, we have achievable goals, and I'm not going to speak about the full battle plans that we have with the United States. We're well coordinated with them. I will say this, that once we achieve our goals, then I have argued, I think, and Americans understand this very well, because we're real partners. I think that what has to be done is to have alternative routes. Instead of going through the choke points of the Hormuz Straits and the Bab el-Mandeb Straits, in order to have the flow of oil, just have oil pipelines, gas pipelines, going west through the Arabian Peninsula, right up to Israel, right up to our Mediterranean ports, and you've just done away with the choke points for forever. That is definitely possible. So I see that as a real change that will follow this war. But I also see this war ending a lot faster than people think. I think you have to, in war, you have to grit your teeth.
So 40% of the oil would go through Israel, making them a superpower. Absolutely. They'd have complete control to turn it on, shut it off. And he's talking about goals like this is, we want, an average person says, I want to retire at 50. Netanyahu's talking, well, we want to have a pipeline, circumvent Iran. 40% of the oil of the world would go through our country. We'd be absolutely rich, beyond rich, superpower rich. So I don't think Israel's going to let this die until something happens, till we fully commit. And it's going to be us. It's not going to be Israeli troops. They might have a few, but it's going to be us. And NATO has fully said that they are not going to commit any troops to the Iranian war, not even really support it. It's a mess. So that's one problem. The second thing I wanted to talk about was conservative media civil war. Charlie Kirk passed away, and he had like a bunch of people, media influencers. I knew some of them talking about like, I'm Charlie Kirk, I'm taking his spot. Like Ben Shapiro was bragging all over the place. I'm gonna take up his mic. You and Charlie Kirk were beefing hard before he passed away. Like you were going after him. You were pissed at him because of what he was asking. Just questions about Israel. And if you listen to Mark Levin, PragerU, anything on some of these large networks, Salem, Ben Shapiro, it's only about Israel war now. Nothing else. About anti-Semitics, fascists, they need to be canceled. If, you should be, thrown in prison if you're talking or questioning Israel. We need to support it. Christians and Jewish people are united. They're one. Zionism. Which, interestingly enough, I found out this week, Zionism was started by Protestants movement there, and it's this whole thing. Look up, Google it. I'm not going to touch it right now, but the fact that everything is centered around these influencers about the Israeli war. They don't talk about anything in the United States, rarely anything, unless it's funding or slamming people for going against Israel or questioning Israel and if we should go into Iran. If you look at Mark Levin's or anybody else's feed about Joe Kent, who has like 5 or 6 Bronze Stars, 11 deployments, Green Beret, CIA secret operative, advisor, lost his wife, and I listened to Sean Ryan's show. Just curious, because Joe Kent's being investigated by the FBI for being leaking information. But again, questioning my own government is, well, is it true? Or are we just targeting it as a political enemy because it goes against the narrative? Because I'm seeing it everywhere. All the media influencers we talked about, they went after Joe Kent hard, like 20, 30 posts in one day, and just spamming stuff. Just nasty. And Joe Kent was professional and still professional, talking highly about Trump, and if anybody can do it, Trump can, and he was, honored to serve for him and all this other stuff, but he lost his wife, and as a Green Beret and heavily decorated, was listening to him, and I agree. I don't believe we should be in Iran, and I think it's a mistake. Were they bad people that we killed? Absolutely, fine. But I think Trump has found himself in a quagmire. United States, the citizens really don't want the war. Oil prices are jacked up. The economy, the changes he's made, this sort of jacked his whole plan up. Inflation, they're talking about stagflation. This isn't like some CNN advisor. This is economists that are Trump supporters. And they're saying that inflation's up, job numbers are not good, instability in the stock market because of the Iranian war, oil prices. I mean, I have money sitting on the side too, because the next 6 months are going to be spicy. And one of the things that also pissed me off, and I should have mentioned the first part,
Netanyahu said Sunday that Cardinal Pizzaballa will be able to hold services for Palm Sunday in the Church of Holy Sepulchre after he was initially blocked by Israeli police. Did anyone from the administration or the president call over to Israeli officials to assist the Cardinal in this?
Yes, I did speak with Secretary Rubio this morning, and we did express our concerns with Israel with respect to these holy sites being shut down. We want worshipers to be able to access these holy sites. Of course, safety is a top priority, but we understand Israel is working on those security measures to reopen the sites throughout Holy Week, and that's something that we're appreciative of.
Israeli police basically canceled or stopped the Catholics from having their Easter Mass there. This church was open during World War I and II during Easter, for context. And the Israeli police said no, we're shutting it down. It just, I don't know what's going on. Don't know. As a Catholic, I have no idea. Pope Leo, he's a heretic at this point. I mean, we've talked about him before. Just like he said that those that are starting wars and using God's name, their prayers aren't answered.
E se il mondo fosse sordo a questo appello, siamo certi che Dio ascolterà la nostra preghiera e il lamento di tanti sofferenti. Questo è l'appello che noi leader religiosi rivolgiamo con tutto il cuore ai governanti. Facciamo eco al desiderio di pace dei popoli. Ci facciamo voce di chi non è ascoltato e non ha voce. Bisogna osare la pace. Mai la guerra è santa, solo la pace è santa, perché è voluta da Dio. Basta! È il grido dei poveri, è il grido della terra. Basta! Mai la guerra è santa, solo la pace è santa, perché è voluta da Dio. Basta guerre, con i loro dolorosi cumuli di morti, di distruzioni, esodi. Mai la guerra è santa, solo la pace è santa, perché è voluta da Dio.
Well, as a Catholic, sorry Pope, but there's nowhere in my Bible, Catholic Bible, that says that. God answers and hears all prayers. Well, he doesn't answer all prayers, but he hears them all. So you're wrong, Pope. And you need to listen and read, not listen, but read St. Augustine about the Crusades. Old and New Testament, their statements about picking up the sword. Yeah, Jesus said peace and love, but he was not a pacifist at all. And the fact that the Pope is talking about, using God's name for a war and your prayers aren't going to be answered. Well, Pope is ignoring the tens of thousands of Nigerians and other people around the world being slaughtered by Muslims. How about that? Complete ignorance. Meeting the Muslims, everything's kumbaya. We need to, there's things where we can learn. Get closer to God from these religion relationships. They're pagans. As a Catholic Pope, it's Catholicism. It's not even Protestantism. It's not Hindu. It's not Muslim. It's nothing. He represents a Catholic Church, and for him to be like inclusive, saying that we need to be passive and love everybody, and if you are starting a war using God's name, then God isn't going to hear your prayer. Heretic. He's no shepherd of the Catholic Church, let alone the Catholic people. So massive, massive problems with him. Massive. So there's concerns about Easter with the church in Israel, St. Peter's. But the chasm between the conservative media. So you have two lines. Like I said, Megyn Kelly has been pushed because she will not denounce Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. And everyone's screaming about Candace Owens being crazy and everything. No one is bringing receipts against her. No one. She's bringing all this evidence, and all I'm hearing is she shouldn't be going after a widow, and she shouldn't be talking this craziness about Erika. That, she's crazy. That's it. No evidence, nothing else. There's just tons of evidence that Candace Owens, and it seems legitimate. She sourced it. So you got Candace Owens, you got Nick Fuentes way over here. Concern about him is there's things that I can agree with. Then there's some crazy, crazy ass things that he says that is just like mind blowing. And it's concerning because there are a lot of young men that are just feel alienated on an island with all the feminism of males and, women and we don't need men and all this other stuff and just how leftist a lot of women are in this country now, and the conservative young males are looking for guidance, a leader. And a lot of people are looking at Nick Fuentes of his anger and just, his lamenting about different things and just crazy, straight up crazy talk. It's attracting younger males. And then you have Tucker Carlson and some of the stuff he goes, it's like, man, like, this is crazy even for me. And then other things that he says and brings up and questions make sense. Sounds more like Charlie Kirk. And then the other side is Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, who was a huge anti-Trump supporter during 2016 and everything like that. But now that Trump is supporting Israel, Mark Levin is pushing hard. Like, I haven't listened to him for years, but it is painful. I did change channel to Mark Levin just to hear it, and he's ranting and raving, and I don't know about you, but he plays a clip for like 2 seconds. You can barely get context, and he's like, stop it, that guy's a jerk, and then he's, anti-Semitic or fascist, and he's an idiot. He's, one of those crazy influencers, right-wing crazy anti-Semitic influencer. Go! And it's like, I don't know. It's painful. Way painful. And then you have a lot of other influencers that are in networks that are getting paid by Israel. I think I mentioned it before. I was in a meeting with executives, and they mentioned that they were getting paid by Israel to control the narrative and sway the American people to be more pro-Israel because of the sentiment in the United States that we're questioning things, and we should be. And like I mentioned, congressional members are dying out that are way pro-Israel. And a lot of people are saying, if you're getting paid by AIPAC, we're not going to support you. We're not voting for you. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but the owner of OnlyFans, I think he was like 45, died this past week, who was also the largest donor to AIPAC, which is interesting because I know a lot of Christian congressional members that are extremely conservative and are taking a lot of money from AIPAC, which has the largest donor as the OnlyFans owner, or used to be. I just thought it was ironic at this point. But what happened with the conservative media? I mentioned Bongino. He's completely lost it.
The third group of people I want to address are the grifters out there who mistakenly thought I wasn't coming back. Now, I am back. The Podfather is back, and I'm here to take back this movement. This movement's been hijacked by a small group of dipshits and bums and losers who are nothing but doomers under the frame of accountability. I'm all about accountability. I just showed you what we did or what we didn't. Did I not?
So Dan Bongino built all this up that he was going to come back on February 2nd, a few days ago, and he was going to just destroy all the Trump haters. He was going to annihilate the black pillars, or the doomers, as he says. And I'm all against people that are all gloom and doom. I totally agree with that idea. But then you see the nebulous stuff he puts out, and he says, I'm in charge. I'm going to control this. I'm the boss. You're all, done. And it's like a little kid, like challenging the sky and saying, I'm going to get you, or a mountain. It's pathetic. Dan, people are mad at no action by the DOJ, no real indictments. That's a legitimate thing. That's not black-pilled. People being really concerned is heartfelt. There are some that are nothing but gloom and doom about everything. I get criticizing them, and I don't even want to see you destroyed. You've done a lot of talented work. You've covered a lot of big stories back when you were a podcaster. But you're crashing out. You're flipping out on everybody and saying, I'm the boss and I determine stuff, and leaving it all nebulous, very Gnostic, is pathetic. So let me give you some advice, man to man. Just cover news topics, expose big news stories, move on from this. You're challenging the internet and saying, I'm going to expose you with no specifics, is the perfect way to destroy yourself. And I want to see you redeemed. I want to beat the globalists. I want to see a weapon against tyrants brought back into the field. Jesus. Like, dude, you are so pathetic. I watch it and I'm like, is this real? Is this actually happening? I mean, I am just dumbfounded. I am godsmacked right now by you. And I'm so upset. I mean, it's just crazy. Join us in our frustration. Push for real reform. Don't tell us we haven't done anything. You're just telling us, we've done nothing. I've done nothing. All those other people haven't done nothing. No, we've been censored, attacked, demonized. We have done something. And we see you as part of the problem, as part of a DOJ that hasn't lifted a finger with Todd Blanche against the establishment. But you can't help yourself. You are so arrogant. I don't think you'll listen to this. So prepare to be completely destroyed politically, which is a sad thing. It's sad to watch you commit political suicide. Harry Carey, seppuku. But those that the gods would destroy, they first make mad. It has been said.
The third group of people I want to address are the grifters out there who mistakenly thought I wasn't coming back. Now, I am back. The Podfather is back, and I'm here to take back this movement. This movement's been hijacked by a small group of dipshits and bums and losers who are nothing but doomers under the frame of accountability. I'm all about accountability. I just showed you what we did or what we didn't. Did I not? I'm not sitting here going, hey, trust me, bro. I showed you. If you like it, great. If you don't, that is absolutely your constitutional right. You paid for it to go out and go, that sucked. I would have done something different. Okay, but you didn't. You didn't do anything different. I'm not sure if you volunteered to serve or not, but you didn't. You sat in the front row with your popcorn, ankle biting, throwing this popcorn at the ring at two guys in there sparring away, fighting for this country while you did shit. You just talked about it. So you didn't do anything. Now, I'm back on the air. I'm not going to take on every single thing in one day in one show, but I'm telling you right now, your bullshit, I'm done with it. The grifter bums, all you guys are a class of doomers. Everything sucks all the time. You would have done it different. You didn't do shit. You did nothing. You didn't volunteer. You didn't ask. You didn't give up your show to do. You did nothing. All you did was bullshit people and say, nothing's happening. And then when we tell you, oh, it just happened, you move on to something else you say is not going to happen. And then when that happens, you move on to something else. You want to critique it, say you would have done better, step up. Step up. Go ahead. They got openings. You go try it. See what you're dealing with.
When he went in, and we talked about this, and if you made it this far, like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate you just trying to grow the channel. This is therapy in my living room. You know, it's sort of my anti-podcast, just throwing a camera on and pushing record at this point. So I appreciate it. If you could subscribe, really helps out the channel. But Bongino, right before he got appointed, was Epstein. Talking about his sources in the FBI and the Capitol, and trust me, I know, and this is legitimate, and this is, I can't tell you who the source is, but this is, stay on Epstein Island and blah, 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 blah. Other things. And he was bragging about all the contacts he had. Legitimate people. Trust me, folks, trust me. And then he becomes deputy FBI director and nothing happens. Complete change. Just I don't know what you're talking about with Epstein. Just completely forget about it. Why are you on this? We went in there's nothing to see, folks. Like complete 180. No explanation, no, hey, I went in there, things were too bad, I couldn't do it, I had no control. At least I would have respected him, but he comes in and complete 180.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it. Outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
He killed himself. You want me to, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
And then he resigns. I'm thinking, well, he tried, and like Elon Musk said, screw this. I can't do it. I tried. I would have respected that because I haven't been to nearly the level of Dan Bongino, but at the same time, I've seen enough in different levels of government where it's like, that's legitimate. Elon Musk, richest man in the world. I tried. But Dan Bongino comes back after resigning, gets his podcast. He makes millions, or used to. And he's like, I'm back, missed you guys. And, I was in there. It was a lot of fun. And, it was, I did what we could. We did great work. He would start bragging about it. And then he starts attacking conservatives.
Finally, there's a third class of people. The third class of people after October 7th went crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. I stand fully, completely, and strongly against anti-Semitic bullshit. I don't know how many times I got to tell you this. It's amazing how many people think it's like the current thing to say like they hate the Jews or something. Really? You believe that? You realize where that's led throughout human history, absent the immorality of it? Now, you may say, oh, gosh, Dan, I can't believe that that's actually happening. Really? I promise you, go look at the Twitter. The botting that does happen, and again, it's not all botting. The botting that does happen is very well organized. It is totally synthetic. It is all anti-Jewish nonsense. Read the comments. It's from like, I hate the Jews 101 and stuff. Just look at it. You can see it. It's so clearly fake. But it's an organized movement of people and it's not a very large group of people, who've learned to amplify social media to attack anyone in the administration or outside who doesn't go and attack the Jews. 100%. Look and just read the comments. Don't take my word for it. Just go and look. Go look. You'll see it. It's everywhere. They all have the same goal. It is to dismantle this movement, take it apart from the inside, cause disruption, pick up the pieces, and rebuild it into something far different than a movement that actually conserves liberty. They all have the same goal. Libs, the anti-Jew crowd, and the Doomers. The exact same goal. Once you see it, you'll never unsee it. Look at the people sending out the messages. Look at who they associate with. Just listen to it. Just read the comments. Read their hand. They don't even hide it.
And he starts crashing out, where him and his wife, I believe, were out, and he's getting called out.
You got it? Got it.
How did you put your name on it?
You're a pedophile protector. A pedophile protector. Pedophile protector. You put. I was a cop for 9 years. You're a pedophile protector, faggot. You're a pedophile protector. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you.
A couple of weeks ago, Dan Bongino was saying, you know, I don't need you. If you aren't supporting me, or if you're not MAGA, or you're not true MAGA, I don't want you as a listener. Idiot. He didn't have to say that. His viewership just tanked, fell off. Because how can you trust him? You can't. I mean, he went in there, did nothing, comes out like he was, you know, second coming, and started attacking people that are just asking questions. Hard defense of Erika, legitimate, you know, just asking questions. Why can't we ask questions in the United States anymore? I mean, we're getting called like anti-MAGA, fair weather MAGA, a bunch of other terms, anti-Semitic, not patriotic, Nazis, fascist, all this other stuff, just for asking questions. The same questions that Charlie Kirk was asking before he was assassinated. Which makes me question what actually is happening. But Dan Bongino, I don't know why you keep on trying to say Don. He's not a Don. Dan Bongino is just crashing out. And he's not the same person as he went in as Deputy FBI Director. He's just bitter and angry. I think he's talking about running for Congress again, which is just insane to me. But I'm sorry, you run your mouth, you talk all this big game about all your contacts and information and insider baseball that you know, and we're going to get in and clean house, and Kash Patel's it, Trump's it, you know, Bondi's it, we're going to kick butt. And you come out with nothing. Like, what did you do? Where is Bondi? I mean, Kash Patel, supposedly there's a video, check it out, I'm not posting it, but him dancing, you know. Bondi, I have no idea where she is. I mean, I really don't. If I hear that S&P is at 5,000 or stock market's at 50,000 or whatever she said, again, like, ignore Epstein, but hey, your 401k is doing great. Well, I don't think that's going to age well. But it's a massive chasm. Right in the comments. I know there's a few of you that love correcting me, but it's a mess. And I think midterms are going to be bloody for the Republicans. I think we're going to get worked. DHS isn't getting funded. ICE is going to the airports. Thankfully, there's no attacks yet, no issues that I've seen. But Senate's broken. Thune won't get rid of the filibuster. These weak Republicans in Senate think that Democrats are going to play fair when they get control, which will happen. I don't know when, But I think we definitely lose a House this go around. And honestly, think about it. What has Republican Congress done to earn our vote and confidence in doing something? Overspending? Check. Supporting a new war? Check. Not enough deportations? Check. Tariffs, fighting the Trump on tariffs, which from what Trump was doing, yes, it's congressional authority. But what has Republicans done in Congress? Senators, representatives. I mean, have they earned anything to be reelected and be in control again? I mean, you talk about it, I think in a little more than a year, massive drop-off. I was very excited in 2025 what Trump was doing. But he's hit a massive wall with Iran. No new wars. I'm sorry. People are like, oh, be patient. No new wars like that. It's not a new war, or he needs to do this. Or it's a war. And it's a mess. And I think, he's losing credibility. And I think he's in a rock and a hard place in Iran. People are questioning. I know a ton of veterans, including myself, are like, we've seen this movie before, and we don't want any part of it. I don't want my sons being any part of it. I know the impact, not just on myself, but, combat changes you, but the impact on losing men and women in combat, which is part of it, but why? Because Israel was going to attack Iran before us. I also know about losing brothers, and I was in infantry during a time where there was no females, thank God. But the impact that carried over, the demons we had to deal with, where I lost over 20 brothers to suicide. So yeah, I'm against the war because I know the impact to the actual people, boots on the ground, not some general, not some politician, not Lindsey Graham's little weak ass. He was, during the shutdown, was it over the weekend, he was in Disney with some bubble wand or whatever. I don't even think he has kids. He's in Disney wandering around like a dirty old man with a bubble wand. I honestly don't know if humans can fix what's happening in the federal government. I was very optimistic. Elon Musk, Vance, Trump, Bondi, Cash Patel, Bongino. Yeah, you, Bongino. Nothing's happened to Epstein Island. The files, cases. Yes, I want to know. I want to know the pedophiles. I want them hammered. I want the truth. I want people to go to jail. I want deportation. I don't care if a kid has bunny ears. There was a kid with a hat and he was pushed out. Oh, they're deporting him. Don't care. Sorry, not sorry. We need adults in the room. We need men to step up. We do. It's insane to me. But it's crazy. Every week is new. Something crazier. It's like, hey, can't get worse than this. Can't get crazier than this. Life says, hold our beer. We got this. It's going to get crazier. So next week, join me. We'll see what else happens in this world. God help us. Remember, like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Write in comments. What do you think? Is there going to be boots on the ground in Iran? Is Trump playing 4D chess? What's going on? Semper Fi. Appreciate it. Stay safe. God bless.